5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Real Estate Social Rockstar Show. This is a show where every week we share with you tips, we share with you tricks, we share with you actionable advice from top producers, from coaches, from marketers, from those people who can help you guide you to grow your business. And today is a show I've been looking forward to for a long time. You know how long I've been looking forward to this show? 15 years. I've been looking forward to this show. And let me tell you why. We have on the show right here, Mike Geraci. Hey, Mike.
What's up, Mike?
How you doing?
Hi, I'm good.
I'm going to give a little bit of background here. So me and Mike, we worked together many, many years ago. We worked at a company, and we're both producing at a high level. And I had the greatest of respect for Mike, and so did everyone in the office. Some of us called him Mike Geraci. Some people call him Michael Geraci. I call him Mike. And anyways, we've now grown our careers. And Mike is now manages an office. He works in agent development. He is himself an experienced top producing agent. He sold, what is it, over 300 homes, Mike?
At this point, yes, over 300.
Over 300 homes. So the guy's obviously crushing it on many levels. But what I really love about Mike, aside from his, I love everybody that crushes it. But what I really like about Mike is he also believes in contribution and in sharing. And so he agreed to come onto the show and share with you guys something really, really very important for us to learn. The topic of this show is going to be, why do most agents fail? Right? We all know a lot of agents fail. A lot of agents don't make it. Why is that? And what can you do to beat that curve? What can you do to grow? How can you start your first 60 days in the business? Mike, thanks very much for joining on the show.
You're welcome, Mike, and thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it is so my pleasure. So
go ahead, I'm sorry.
That's okay. So that's a big question that you're going to be answering here tonight. Why do most agents fail? It's a little sad that most agents fail, and some people don't even realize that most agents fail. So tell me a little bit about that. Tell me what your experience has been with agents, and let's first paint a realistic picture before you solve the problem.
Well, just to go back to what you were mentioning about how long we know each other. Started roughly 15 years ago in the business, about 14 actually. But now I've been in management for over 10 years, since 2006. So over this last 10-year period, I've seen a lot of agents come into the business and leave the business. And I studied reasons why. Why did they fail? What caused them to fail? Why didn't they have a plan in place from the beginning? Or what was lacking from that plan that ultimately caused them to fail? And I think it all starts with the foundation. If Brandon could put up that photo of the house, if possible, it all starts with the foundation. If you have the right building blocks, you could start a business, but more importantly, your structure and how you build on top of your foundation has to be solid. If your structure starts to fail in any way or any aspect of your structure, then things may crumble. And that might be what's causing some agents to leave the business. Their foundation and their structure isn't solid from the beginning.
For those of you who are listening on a podcast to this or watching this later, so Mike just threw up on screen a picture of a really scary looking house that's fallen apart over here. And the tag, what it says over here is, Mike, what does it say on that picture?
Without the proper foundation, things can crumble. Or without the proper structure, things can crumble. And it's the truth. It could be a house, it could be a business, it could be any kind of business. It doesn't have to be real estate. But if you don't have the proper foundation in place, and more importantly, build it with the right structure, then things will fall apart at some point.
So let me ask you, so you're saying foundation and structure, those are going to be the two main things I assume we're going to be talking about?
Most likely, yes.
Awesome. So let's talk about foundation for a second. What is a foundation that agents need to have in place in order to grow a successful, profitable real estate business for themselves?
Well, I think when it comes to foundation, there's no reinventing the wheel. What are your main building blocks when you start in the business? You want to build a database, right? You want to touch your sphere of influence. You want to let everybody that you know what you do as far as real estate is concerned. You want to pick a farming area, right? You want to get to know the people in your farming area. So all of these are true traditional forms of marketing yourself and building your business from scratch. So I also look at your career as a vehicle, your real estate vehicle, any vehicle. Every vehicle needs what to move? What makes a car go?
An engine.
An engine is part of it, but what makes the wheels actually turn?
What makes the wheels turn? The gas?
Motion. Let's leave it at motion. You need
Okay.
motion, right? You need constant motion. You need all four wheels to turn at the same time. And I look at the four wheels as your lead sources and how you generate your leads, right? You don't want one to start lagging because then the car is not going to move the right way. All four have to move at the same time. And as soon as one starts to lag or one doesn't work properly, the car is not going to go forward or your career is not going to go forward. So when you get into your real estate vehicle or your real estate career, you have to make sure that all four wheels are constantly turning at the same time.
So I like how you're using the wheels as a car, as a, you know, as a demonstration. So let's talk about those wheels for a second. First of all, what are some wheels that people have, and does everyone have the same wheels? And tell us a little bit about that.
There could be more than four wheels. I mean, what are your main lead sources when you're first starting out? The people you know, right? The people you know are going to be one of your biggest lead sources. They're going to want to help you out. So your sphere of influence and the people that you know will always be a nice percentage of your business as long as you keep in touch with them. So that's one. Farming area is another one. Picking a farming area close to where you live, an area that you know well. FSBOs and expireds are always an option, but not a lot of people like to call. You know, so then we come to what you and I are doing right now, social media, you know, and getting out there and using Facebook ads or Facebook groups to spread your message, or becoming the local expert in your marketplace, you know. So there's a lot of different options when it comes to, I shouldn't say a lot, there's only a few options when it comes to lead sources, but you've got to be good at least four of them. You know, if you don't like calling FSBOs and expireds, you hate the phone, then you better be good at marketing yourself. You better be good at mailing, you know, circle prospecting around listings. We know there's so many different ways to get your name out there, but you've got to consistently do them in order to stay effective.
So let me ask you a question, and you know, feel free to even not answer it if you want. But most agents, you've seen a lot of agents. You've been in the agent development business now, as you said, 10 years.
Yes.
You've seen a lot of agents come, and probably, unfortunately, seen some go. When most agents start, what percentage of them actually pick up the phone and get business in that way? And if somebody just doesn't want to pick up the phone, is scared to pick up the phone, is resistant, you know, what are others done that you've seen that are successful?
If somebody's uncomfortable using the phone or talking on the phone, I think role playing in a group, a small group, to help them overcome that fear is important. That's why the training program that I do incorporates, you know, role playing throughout the course of the 6 to 8 weeks that we do it. So to overcome that fear up front is important. And if they don't overcome that fear, then that's not going to be one of their strongholds as far as generating leads. They're not going to be good on the phone. They don't like the phone, so they've got to focus on something else. Practice, repetition, doing the same thing over and over makes you better. So practicing your scripts, practicing what you're saying, role playing, like we said, doing it on your own in the mirror. I remember when we first started, I first learned a listing presentation. I used to drive around in my car before there was Bluetooth, and people used to think I was talking to myself because I was, you know, practicing the pitch. I do it in the mirror when I was getting ready in the morning. I do it with my wife. She was my girlfriend at the time when we started, but I would practice with her. So you got to practice repetition. The more you do anything related to our business, I think the easier it becomes. It's all repetition.
Yeah. Do you find that most agents that you've interacted with that are successful, do most of them do it through cold calling, or would you say, you know, that's not really the defining factor?
I think I've met a lot more people over the last 2.5 years. I'm with Douglas Elliman, with a very big company.
Yeah.
And I see people that are in this business for 35 years in some cases, that have their own team, that have been doing it the same way for 20 years. They market themselves, you know, they're true and tried to the traditional means of marketing, and they incorporate a little current social media stuff into their marketing budget. So they are self-proficient as a real estate agent, as a business. So their business is already set up. Other people that don't come in, that may not have that kind of budget to spend on marketing, they have to find inexpensive ways to market themselves. And that's how they're going to get their name out there. They've got to network. I mean, these are all things that, again, nothing is new, but a lot of agents just don't do them consistently.
Yeah. So let's say I was a new agent, and I'm going to create a hypothetical scenario, right? So let's say I was a new agent. I moved to, to your marketplace. Tell everybody, what's your marketplace?
I live in Brooklyn, but I manage and oversee an office for the company in Babylon in Suffolk County on the South Shore.
Okay, awesome. So let's say I was moving to Suffolk County, and I was moving there from California. I'm a new agent. I don't have a sphere because, let me take that back. I'm a new agent and I don't know people in Suffolk County. What would you advise me to do? How do I go out there? How do I not fail like a lot do?
I'll give you an example, and it's funny that you mentioned California because I do have an agent in my office who's now been with us for about a year from California.
Nice.
She's very successful in California. What she wanted to do was network. She wanted to get out and meet people. She wanted to join groups, local groups, get to know the community, get to know the area she wanted to service. She actually linked up with AARP and has met a lot of new people through AARP. So there's different groups that people should join to get out in front of other people, to meet new people, to grow their sphere of influence when they're starting out in a new marketplace.
So this new agent of yours, so they went out and they started networking. So they didn't actually seem to grow their business just from cold calling. You're saying they managed to do it in other ways.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. For somebody who doesn't know the area, to be out and about, feet to the street, meeting people, as we like to say, face to face, belly to belly.
Yeah.
That's what's important. You got to be out talking to people. We can do this all day long, or we can be on, Facebook and sharing listings and sharing other things. But if you're not interacting with people, none of it really matters.
Yeah. So the reason I'm kind of driving this conversation in this way, and of course, hopefully everybody knows, like there was no pre-scripting of our conversation. I didn't even send you what questions I'm going to ask you. I just tried to
keep it live.
What?
That's the beauty of doing it live.
Yeah. This is the real thing. So I was having conversations, and I have these conversations all the time with agents. And the agents that are comfortable getting on the phones and dialing for dollars, so to speak, and are okay handling the objections and stuff like that, generally they just become successful because they meet a high volume of. It's the quickest way to meet a high volume of people in a shorter period of time. So it's almost like a guarantee of success if you do it. Even if you just said you're looking to sell all day, you'd be successful because it's just a numbers game. But There are people that aren't into that, of course. And so I speak to other people who don't want to cold call, and they tell me, well, they want to do other things. They want to network. They want to, to meet people and so on and so forth. And one of the biggest things that I'd love you to talk about a little bit is that I find that some of those people who, when they don't decide to call, they don't realize how many contacts they actually need to make. They still need to make those contacts in the belly-to-belly environment. Talk a little bit about what people need to actually do to make it.
Absolutely. I mean, it's a numbers game. At the end of the day, we're in a sales environment. The more contacts you make, the more opportunities you're going to create for yourself. So somebody who has to make 50 phone calls to make one appointment or to get one appointment, or make 50 phone calls to speak to 3 people and get one appointment, then they know that's their number. They have to figure out what their number is. And if it's going to be all phone calls, then that's all phone calls. But if it's going to be through mailings and knocking on doors and reaching out to people that way, then it becomes a numbers game no matter how you look at it. But as far as calling is concerned, dial for dollars, like you said. Keep dialing for dollars. Dial until you get an appointment.
Yeah. It's interesting also. So I run Meier Real Estate, of course, right? We're a brokerage company in New York City. And when we teach agents different ways they can go about getting business, whether it be through mailers or whether it be through dialing for dollars, right? Or, I really like, I used to get excited by the word dialing for dollars, and sometimes I still do. It's kind of fun. But it's also, I like just saying going out there and contributing now. Because when you call people, you're trying to contribute, you're trying to share valuable information, you're telling them about a home that just sold. Or Lisa Archer, I had her on the show last week, and she said, you're calling people to ask them if they want to pick their neighbor. And you're calling them to let them know about a listing you may have available. So it's not even about the dialing for the dollars, it's dialing for the contribution. And when you contribute, people pay you. But so when I was talking with her and when I'm talking with agents that are here, if an agent doesn't want to get on the phone to go and dial for those dollars, do you, in your program with agents, do you tell them there's a certain number of people they need to speak with every day? Is there a number? Are there check boxes that they need to fill off on their training, coaching? Tell us a little bit about what kind of accountability you tell agents they need to have to be successful.
Well, when the program first begins, what we do is we select, a specific number in each category. So they're going to select how many people are going to be in their farm area. They're going to select how many people in their sphere of influence they're going to reach out to every, whether it's 50, 75, 100. They're going to select how many FSBOs or expires they're going to try to call every week. And week after week, when we start, we're going to go through those numbers. So there's the accountability part of it. We're going to review the numbers. And by week 2, week 3, there's always something starting to brew through the program, whether they're working with a buyer now, they're showing a buyer some properties, or they have a possible listing presentation to go on. So week after week, we go through these numbers. And if you want me to pinpoint the number as far as how many calls you have to make, I know there's statistics on it. But as far as I look at it, you got to make enough calls to get an appointment. If you haven't gotten an appointment, then your call session wasn't successful. Or if you haven't at least gotten something to follow up on, then your call session wasn't successful. So you may have just wasted an hour and a half calling 50 people and not getting any results, which means you should probably call 20 more.
Yeah. So so it's interesting. Now I'm growing a company, and my job in this company now is coaching and recruiting, of course. When I was an agent and I was focusing on contacting and calling potential buyers and sellers and renters to list their home or to work with them, I used to have a certain number of people I wanted to contact. So I didn't stop till I hit 37 people every day, 37 live people. If a nanny picked up the phone, that's not a contact. It is a confirmed homeowner. 37. But in order to get less discouraged, because sometimes I'd go through and I'd hit up my 37 people, and it might take me 250, 300 dials to get 37 people. When I'd get those people, sometimes I didn't find someone looking to do anything today, right? So I always looked for a win. Right. And my win was I needed to get 12 email addresses. That's what I needed. If I got 12 email addresses, then even if no one's looking to move today, if every day I get 12 email addresses, 5 days a week, that's 60 email addresses, that's 240 email addresses per month, that's whatever it is per year, you're guaranteed to find money as long as you do your follow-up relationship building.
Absolutely, and that all comes into play with your follow-up technique, the system that you use to keep in touch with people. I mean, that's a great, the way you look at it and the way you crunch those numbers, you have now 200 and something people over a period of time to follow up with. Like you said, there's money there. There's some opportunity there, and there's people there that you can help, whether it's buying or selling. So that's a great system. But again, it all comes down to the follow-up and what you use to stay in touch. And I know you're huge on technology, obviously, so you probably have a great system in place.
Yeah. So we use Mojo for dialing and all this kind of stuff. But it's funny because back in the day when I was making the calls, there was no Mojo and there was no triple dialer. It was a cell phone in one hand, a phone in the other, so that we can, double the number of calls that I was making. And it was fun. And so, all right. So we talked a little bit about making contacts. I want to sum it up and then move on to the second stage of our conversation, which is about the relationship building with those contacts. So I'm going to try to sum it up, but I'd love just you to fill me in if I missed anything, okay?
Sure.
So what we're saying is that you need to go out there and you need to speak with people. And whether that is speaking with 25 people as the minimum number of contacts you need to make, or whether that is talking to people till you schedule an appointment, those seem to be two different potential ways of viewing your dialing call session.
Right.
Now,
if
you're not going to hit the phones and you want to be a networker, you want to be a marketer, you want to be a someone that goes out and goes to events, then in that case, what would you say might be certain parameters or expectations you might have or number of people you need to meet?
Well, I'll put it to you this way. I'm in our corporate headquarters in Long Island. I just got out of a 3-hour managers meeting. We do this once a month. So I'm sitting with some of the greatest minds in Long Island real estate. Nice. And I benefited greatly over the last 2.5 years sitting in these meetings. Kind of starting your business relates to like what you do, what I do, to the recruiting part of it, right? So if you're going to network, if you're going to be out and about, you have to be at as many events as possible. You have to meet as many new people as possible. You have to be at real estate related events. But when you're coming in as a new agent and you're trying to build business, you want to be involved in as many community events as possible. Especially this time of the year, there's so many different things going on in every community around the holidays. You know, it's reasons to reach out to people that you know. It's reasons to meet with or have lunch or dinner with people that you know. So it's all about being out and about and meeting. And, you know, we can't say it enough, face to face, belly to belly, you know, handshakes, meeting with people, meeting new people, adding people to your database, using a great system like you have for follow-up technique. You know, so it's a constant, and I guess we can move on to the relationship part of it from here, but it's constantly meeting new people and growing those relationships and planting seeds for the future.
Yeah. I want to actually throw out two examples of people that I've seen that have been building business through networking and events. One of them, literally today, like 2 hours ago, I got an invite from an agent, and the agent invited me to an Alzheimer's awareness event. And this is a passion of his. He, you know, it's something that he cares a lot about, and he's trying to raise awareness and I guess funding and research for Alzheimer's, right? Terrible, terrible, you know, disease. And he sent me this event, and I'm looking, and he's got all these people that are confirmed on Facebook going to his event. And I see that he's all the time doing these type of events. He's a successful real estate agent. His passion, and when I speak to him all the time, I love people like him. I ask him, what's your passion? His passion is Alzheimer's. It's getting people to be aware and helping to try to further along the you know, solutions and research to, you know, to help that problem in our, you know. Yeah. And then he said, and I said, what about real estate? He goes, well, of course I love real estate. You know, real estate is something I do and I have fun with. And it's what I do because it helps drive money to my passion, and it helps me meet people so that I can do it. So he's always doing events. Now, when he goes and people show up at his event and all he talks about is Alzheimer's, but everybody knows he's a real estate agent, that for me is, if you want to say you're a networker, you can't just go to once a month or every other week like a fun party going on at a new development or something. You know, you have to be like all in. You are someone with a cause. You are someone that is, you know, your cause might be networking, helping people network, but it needs to be a big ass deal.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And being involved with that cause. And again, this goes to the giving back part of what we do. You know, we like to give back, obviously, because we get by giving. Somebody, you know, a wise trainer once told me, and actually gave me a pin that I carry on my folder, says we get by giving. So in his case, your example, he's getting by being involved and giving to this foundation for Alzheimer's. So in return, like you say, everybody knows what he does, but that's not his main focus. His main focus is helping the cause.
Yeah. One of my coaches also says the same thing. We call it the spirit of reciprocity.
Yeah.
You put things out into the world, you do goodness, you share like you're doing right now, like I'm doing. We go out there and we educate agents. Then of course, contact us when they want to learn, they want to know things. And, you know, of course,
comes back.
Yeah, fantastic. All right, so let's now switch into the relationship building, and you know, let's just spend 5 minutes talking about relationship building. Now we just told you how you make contacts. Mike, tell us how you build relationships with those contacts that you've met.
I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can do it. You know, I like to personally, if I get a listing, for example, or if an agent in the office gets a listing, I suggest, of course, sending out just listed cards, getting to know the people around that listing. So trying to prospect more business around the business that you get. But as far as the people that you meet that are not transacting any sort of business right now, that you're meeting for the first time, it's a matter of follow-up. I mean, how many times a day do you get a call or a text or an email from somebody saying, hey, when we having lunch? You know, it's the same thing. You've got to do the same thing that way to meet up with them again. Or again, it's around the holidays. It's a reason to call. It's a reason to say hello. It's a reason to stop by and visit. So cultivating those relationships over time means staying in touch, and staying in touch with meaningful information if you're going to provide information.
Do you have any specific number of times people need to follow up, or do you have any quantifiable type of things that you ask of your agents to do to know whether they're doing a good job with their follow-up?
I think the most important thing, and this goes back a long time in this business or in any sales environment, is when you meet somebody new, to send a handwritten note. That handwritten note still goes a very long way. And I provide the agents in the office that are new, when they meet new people, I'll provide them a company branded, thank you note with an envelope with the office address and things like that. So they're sending it out. Just, great meeting you. Thanks for taking the time to speak to me. Look forward to speaking to you soon. If you ever need me, give me a call, whatever it is. But that thank you note, whether it's written, whether it's a text the next day or something, that goes a long way. That goes a long way with any new relationship.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Nothing beats a handwritten note.
Really?
I actually have sitting in my office. I got a handwritten note a few weeks ago. I was speaking at a National Associations of Realtors tech event, NARTech, and I was speaking there. And one of the agents there, she sent me a handwritten card thanking me for speaking there, and I almost fell off my chair. I mean, it was just that note made the whole speaking thing worthwhile. I felt like I did something good with my life, right? I helped someone.
For me,
And so yeah, nothing beats a handwritten card.
it doesn't. Another example, sorry to interrupt, but I think that what I get real satisfaction out of, because I'm involved not only in the program that I do in my office, but I also do some new agent training in our corporate office for new agents coming in across Long Island and in Queens. And I mentioned handwritten notes and how far they go. And then every once in a while, I'll get one to my office from one of the agents in the training class. And to me, they'll say something like, your class was so good, I learned so much, you taught me how to use this or how to do that. To me, that's the ultimate satisfaction. And I think on a different level, that's a new agent. When I show or if I teach an experienced agent something that they don't know or that they haven't tried yet, and it helps their business, then to me, that's just, the cream of the crop, because these are people that have been in business for a long time, and I'm showing them something simple that can help them increase their production.
Are there certain things, and I'm just curious about this, when you bring in a new agent into your office, and we're talking about like a new agent, not somebody that transfers firms or, that's been in the business for a while, brand new agent out of school, right? Are there certain things that they do right away that you're able to tell, like, all right, this person's going to make it or not? Just curious if there's certain things that are like make it or break it, and new agents should pay attention. Hey, these are the people that are going to make it, and these that are not, you better copy the ones that are going to make it.
Well, I mean, there's obviously questions that I know you'll ask a new agent coming into your company, or I'll ask a new agent coming into my office, and through a series of questions, you probably can figure out whether or not somebody's going to make it. But I always believe in giving everybody, a first chance. And I hate to see somebody spend money up front on board dues and membership fees and stuff, and then be out of the business in a month. So I'm going to do whatever I can do to make sure that over the first 2 months coming in, that they do have some sort of success, that they are going to transact business, whether it's a rental, whether it's working with a buyer, whether it's getting a listing. But there are people program, I'm going to know whether or not they're going to make it.
So you can already tell within 2 to 3 weeks of the program?
Yeah. Wow. Because again, there's an accountability piece to it. So every week we're going to review numbers. And if I ask somebody, how many people in your sphere of influence did you reach out to? And they said, I spoke to 2, and a whole week went by, then I know they're not giving a strong enough effort.
Yeah. So that's interesting. It only takes you 2 weeks. And what specifically are you looking at in those 2 weeks? What are you looking at? What are the questions you ask?
Remember how I mentioned in the beginning, they'll select the farm area, how many people, they'll select how many people in their sphere of influence they're going to reach out to every week. Not only are they selecting the farm area, I'm showing them how to get the names and the addresses. I'm showing them some sample letters to send out. So by week 2 or 3, they should have done a few hundred letters. And some agents take it to the next level. Instead of sending 200, they'll send 400. They'll expand that farm area. So if somebody's not doing these activities week after week, or if they're sort of half-assing it, and they're only putting in a minimal effort, then I'm going to know whether or not they're going to be successful.
Yeah. If somebody sends out 2 letters, it's a problem. If somebody sends out 200 letters,
that conversion, and somebody's going to call you back, one of the 2 people that can get in touch with you, then I shouldn't say that, because there was an agent in my office who sent out 40 letters and got 7 responses and got 3 listings out of it. So it's a numbers game. Sometimes the ratios are higher, but it's definitely a numbers game.
Fantastic. All right, Mike. Before we wrap up over here, first of all, I want to thank you for joining us. Is there anything else that we've missed that you'd like to share before I ask you to just share your information with anybody that's interested in learning more about you?
I mean, this is my passion. My passion is helping people start from scratch, and I love helping an experienced agent kind of kick it up a notch and increase their production. Again, you know, you mentioned earlier, throughout my career, it's been, you know, over 300 homes that I've sold personally, but you remember the training sessions we used to have when we worked together. I helped a lot of other people do some deals. And mentioning that we used to work together, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Joe Toscano's name. Joe, my mentor when I got into business, and Joe had a lot to do with putting this program together. So, you know,
I need to get him on this show. I need to work on that.
What's that?
I need to get him on this show.
Yeah, Joe would be great. He's fabulous.
I love Joe. He's the man.
But the ultimate satisfaction is helping somebody start from scratch and increase their production of their experience. And to me, it's all about passing on what I know and what I've done throughout my career.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, Mike, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
If anybody would like to reach out to you, I know you're in Suffolk. Oh, I want to add one more thing. Sorry, I don't want to forget this. I was on your Facebook today, on your Facebook wall, and I saw that you took videos of a few of the homes in your neighborhood that you just sold, and a few of the homes that you just sold. And you were just talking a few minutes ago about working your neighborhood and people informed. And I saw you doing it firsthand. And you're like, I sold this home and this is available and this just went the contract, this went the contract. And you didn't do it in an arrogant way at all. You did it in like, hey, I'm a friendly neighbor. Let me tell you what's up. And so I just wanted to let everybody know, I only have people on this show that talk that they don't just talk the talk, they walk the walk. And you are 110% one of the people that share, contribute, and do what you preach. So thank you.
And being that you mentioned that, and thank you for bringing that up. That was actually the block that I live on. There's 4 houses I've sold on the block within the last year. And it's kind of the quadruple effect. So I have 1 active, 1 under contract, 1 that has an accepted offer, and 1 that closed. But I think it's important for me to keep my feet to the street, be active. And I don't sell a lot of houses throughout the year, maybe 9, 10, 11 homes. But I have to be active in order to go through the same experiences, just like you, to go through the same experiences that your agents are going through. And, in the office, we'll roundtable it sometimes. We'll talk about problem deals, or we'll talk about, hey, I came across this scenario. This is what I did. Or, this is the first time this has happened to me. What'd you do in this situation? So brainstorming is huge, but to be active for me on a minimal level is extremely important so I can relate.
Yeah, that is really fantastic. Guys, just a little bit of credibility to this call so you guys know who we're talking to. When me and Mike were working together, we were listing like, what was it? It was like 20 homes a month that we were listing?
You might have been doing 20. I think I was doing 30.
Oh, boom. All right. You know what? Maybe. You were a rock star.
No, I think the average agent was taking in about 27 listings a month. And I mean, it was a whole different structure, a different company, a different time, but it was good time.
But everything was different. But the bottom line is, when we're telling people what they need to do to grow their business, we've done it.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And you've definitely done it. Mike, thank you very much. If people want to reach out to you, how do they contact you if you'd like to share your information?
I'm already in everybody's phone. Just Google me and I'm there.
Sounds great. Mike Geraci.
And across, throughout Brooklyn, Queens, and Long Island, just get in touch with me through Facebook or through LinkedIn or any of the social media channels. And I'd be happy to share some tips with you.
Fantastic. If anybody wants to reach out to me, my name is Michael Meier, broker, owner, and coach at Meier Real Estate. You can reach me on Facebook at Michael Meier NYC, the same on Snapchat and Instagram and all those fun places. I hope to see you there. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask us. Feel free to reach out to Mike. Feel free to reach out to me. We're here to help you grow. We'd love to hear and see your success. Take care, everybody. Thanks, Mike. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, Mike.